Hey everyone, welcome to Pink Power Monday Night Call. I am Natalie Dolan and I am so excited to talk to you guys today about failing. I I feel like I am the failure queen. I'm a Sapphire brand ambassador. I've been doing Plexus for 7 years and I have failed so much, like the most. I have failed. I kind of feel like I am a learn the hard way kind of person anyways. I love to take risks. I sometimes I just like that. I just, like the excitement of taking risks. And so I will try. And that if you like to take risks, you're also gonna fail a lot too. And so yeah. And I think at convention, when you talk to people about a lot of their biggest takeaways, everybody talks about John Maxwell and what John Maxwell spoke about. And John Maxwell spoke about failing, and how to fail in times of adversity, how to pair failure and success together and how they should be together. And so I thought, okay, he was talking about sharing our failures and how powerful it is and our habit. Just, it was such a powerful, like incredible training. If you loved that John Maxwell training, like just put that in the comments. Like it was so good. Let me take a drink of water. I'm like, I need a drink. Hold on. Okay. So when I was thinking about this call, I was like, well, that made such a big impact. And I can think of other trainings that I've heard where they spoke about failure and how empowering it is, because a lot of the time people don't want to do this because of the fear of failure, and feeling like we're going to fail holds us back so much, and everything that's tied into failure. And so I wanted to break it down as somebody who has failed a lot. I want to talk about my failures. And my goal is that you would hear this and you would see how human and how many mistakes you have to make to go up, and how normal you can be to be successful in this through failing forward. I want you to look at me and think, if Natalie can do it, so can I, because this girl, all she really does is fail forward. Okay, so when it comes to my failures, I was not a fast I was not a fast starter. I think it took me a year to get to gold. I was stuck at multiple ranks for multiple years. I feel like I was ruby for at least a year. I was senior ruby for 2 years. I was emerald for 2 years. I've been sapphire for a year and a half. And that's okay. You don't have to be a fly by night quick success person in order to be successful and change your life. You just don't. I have failed. I have gone for ranks. I've gone for emerald and failed. I've gone for diamond and failed. You go for that and miss it, it hurts. Okay. And some people accept failure as defeat, and they make it mean something about them, and then they give up. But I want you to know that along this journey, you're going to have to face these failures head forward. And you need to know right now that they're coming. I've failed at events. I've thrown events where no one's showed up. I've done in-person events where no one joined. I've done failed phone calls where I fumbled through it. I was nervous. I didn't know what I was saying. It was awkward. I've failed at trainings. I've done calls like this where it was a flop. I've failed systems. I've tried to create new systems and the system didn't work. I've failed at leadership over and over and over. I've failed at consistency over and over and over. I've failed. I've sent weird messages. I've messed them up. I've sent awkward voice messages. I've failed at posts that flopped. I've posted weird reels that didn't get likes, that ultimately was, not a great reel. I failed at managing my time and trying to make new routines. I've had team members quit on me. A lot of team members quit on me, like, and all of that felt like failure. All of that could have knocked me out of the game if I decided to let it. But I embraced early on that all of these failures were my way to success. And you know what? You learn infinitely more through your fails than your success. That's why I know what I know, because of my failures. That's why I have anything to talk about, is because of my failures. So right now you have to decide to commit to the process, knowing that failure is the only way forward. Failure is the only way that we learn, and you have to embrace it. You must embrace it. I've had a lot of failures, right? But through the failures, I've learned. Through the failures, I've discovered my strengths. I've found out who I really was. I've discovered the real me, who I am. I know who I am through failing forward, through doing this business. I have strengthened my communication skills through failing. I've strengthened my social media skills through failing. I've learned the art of people through failing and talking to people and all of that. I've built habits that have propelled me forward. I've built self-awareness. I've learned how to coach people to grow and be successful themselves. I've figured out how to manage time, often unsuccessfully, and then I fail, and then I try it again, and I keep on doing it again. And I know I'm going to keep on failing, and then I'm going to just keep on trying, especially with time management. But I have debunked so many limiting mindsets that have held me back from living my best, most free life, the best life that God has for me, through failing, through this whole process. I grew in courage and strength that has forever impacted my entire legacy through engaging in this process. Where would I even be without a willingness to fail forward? I wouldn't be here. And there are lots of people that aren't here because they were not willing to fail forward. Okay. What I want to talk about, what I want to hit on, is how to fail forward well, because that's all good and well. And we're all going to fail, but how do you do it well? And what does that really mean? So number one, you need to be so connected to your purpose and why that failure pales in comparison. Failure doesn't sting nearly as bad when you know your assignment, when you know you are on mission. It's okay if someone rejects you. It's okay if you get no's, if you make a post that flops or was weird or it wasn't perfect, or you found out you were doing something wrong, or you tried an event and it didn't go well. It pales in comparison when you know that you are here to make an impact. There are people waiting on you to reach out. There are legacies waiting to be impacted by your reach out. Other people's blessings are connected to your obedience. And I say that all the time, but I always like to remind you, your obedience to this call and this mission, people are waiting for you to be obedient to it. People are going to look at you and say, you changed my life. That one of the girls on my team looked at me. That was probably my biggest convention takeaway. She looked at me and said, I want you to know that you changed my life. And she's going to go on and she's going to be, she's going to bless her husband in ways that may not have happened if she wasn't here in this incredible community. She's going to go on and parent her kids in a way that's going to affect her entire legacy through because I was obedient to coach her, to bring her on, to risk the rejection, because this is my mission. This is my purpose. This is my calling. And so you have to take the time to sit and think and write and express and talk about your why and your purpose, so that failure is nothing but a little, I don't know, a little dot on the map. It's just tiny and it doesn't matter. Okay. So number 2, set aside time to process what didn't go well, and what you learned. So set aside time to process what didn't go well and what you learned from it. We can't grow if we numb ourselves to the failure and we don't think about it and we just move on. You'll repeat the same failures if you don't take that time to think and process. Figure out if you're an external processor or an internal processor. If you're an internal processor, go and sit and think, maybe write. For me, I am an external processor. A lot of things, I just need to talk it out so that I can fully get through what happened. And that's how I process. And then write it down. Either way, write it down, so that you can reflect back later. The most important lessons we learn always involve a loss, a failure, or adversity. So you don't want to miss it. Failure is actually a gift. So take the time to unwrap it. Okay. Number 3, implement after you've processed. Number 3, implement one habit to help you in the area of failure. John Maxwell said, we have uphill hopes and downhill habits. And that hit me like a ton of bricks because I am not a naturally disciplined person. I have on the Strength Finder test, discipline is in like my bottom 3, and I'm still a jewel. That's amazing. That shows you that you can grow, that your weaknesses don't have to hold you back. Is discipline ever going to be my number 1 strength? No, probably not. I have number 1 strengths that I know and I lean into, but you have to redefine your habits, and you have to intentionally figure out, hey, if I'm failing in this area, then what's a habit that I can implement? Like maybe you did an event and you got on and your communication skills were not good and you know, it was kind of a flop. Okay. You sit down and you thought, okay, what could have gone better? And you're like, well, I guess I need to learn how to talk about plexus better. So what's one habit that I could do? One habit that you could do is you could start watching an event every day. You could start watching other people talk about plexus on their events. There's unlimited amount of videos on YouTube, pretty much. I guess not unlimited, but pretty close. There's always more coming. And so that's a habit. Every day at this time while I'm making my breakfast, I'm going to put on a video. So figure out a habit to support your uphill hopes. You don't want to have uphill hopes and downhill habits. You want to have uphill hopes and uphill habits, because you are either going up or you're going down. It's one or the other. So you get to choose. I do recommend, if you are serious about your business, and you're here for the long haul and you have vision, then read Atomic Habits and learn how to really do habits well, because that's the quality of your life. That's the quality of your business, is your habits. Okay, number 4, embrace failure as character building. This is a process of becoming. I want to read something. I just remembered John Maxwell said it, and it's in my notes here. He said, he asked a question at the beginning. He said, he asked a good question, and then he asked a great question. The great question was, what would you attempt to do if you knew you might fail, but knew it would make you a better person? Failure involves character building. And so I go back again to, this is a process of becoming. You have to become the person that you need to be in order to get where you need to go. You're not going to get to diamond with silver work ethic. You have to develop diamond work ethic to be a diamond. When I failed for going for diamond last year, we were close, and I went for it and missed it. But when I failed going for diamond, I knew I didn't want to just be the rank. I wanted to embody what it actually is to lead at a diamond level. I was able afterward. It hit me hard. I can't sit here and say I handled that failure so well. It knocked me off. It knocked down my confidence some. It made it, at some point I did feel like a failure. But I figured out, I was able to look in the mirror and say, okay, I have learning to do. I have to become a diamond. I don't have to just hit the numbers. I have to be that. And so, after that, I became more determined to learn and grow and figure out what it actually means. And I know that I wasn't ready, and I know that I had so much more to learn. And so, and I'm still in that process. I'm still in the process of learning to lead on that level. And yeah, so it's, you have to take it step by step. I think a lot of the time we can be at silver and be like, I'm not ever going to get there, but you just get there little by little. Here is my last point, and probably the most important point. You have to learn to separate your failures and your identity. It's good that failure keeps us humble, because humility is what draws people to us. Humility is what makes us teachable. And remember that God gives grace and favor to the humble. And so knowing that and keeping that close, knowing every time that this is good, this keeps me humble, this develops my character, this helps me become the person that I need to be. Do not ever label yourself as a failure when you miss it. We have to be much more compassionate with ourselves when we miss it, because you're gonna keep on missing it. Attaching your identity to your success or failures builds a foundation on the sand. You need to intentionally build yourself up and know your value as a person, not based on what you accomplish, but on your character and your ability to keep going. No matter who you are, you can keep going. You can keep showing up. I am convinced that continuing to show up is one of the biggest factors in winning and making your dreams come true. It is merely through all of my failures, it is merely the determination to keep showing up. Keep figuring it out. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Okay. This is a process. Okay. So be compassionate and gentle with yourself as you learn to fail forward well. I'm going to be honest. I debated whether or not to share this, but I failed today and I beat myself up today. This is hard for me to say, but I feel I want you to know how human and how the mistakes that we all make, even as Jules. I didn't know that I had this call today. I had it in my calendar and I did have a reminder that went off last week, but I forgot all about it until this afternoon when we found out that I had this call. And I was like, well, I am very adaptable. That is one of my strengths. And I can pivot pretty quick, but I was like, John Maxwell, that was, I wanted to relate it to convention and I wanted to bring it together. And I know I heard from so many people the impact of failing forward. And I was like, well, if there's anything that I can talk about, it's failing forward. And I tried to write this, I tried to write this, it's not a sermon. It's not a message. What is it? It's a team call. It's not it is a little bit of that, but I tried to write this team call and it wasn't coming together and I was stuck and I started beating myself up and I called my best friend and I was crying and I was like, I am a failure. I don't know what the heck I am talking about. Why would I choose this subject? I feel awful. And she said, you're just gonna do it. You're just gonna show up and you're just gonna do it. And it's gonna be great. And you got this. And I picked myself up. Well, she picked me up and she prayed for me and sent me on my way. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. But I want you to know that it's a process. It's even though I do think a lot and have done a lot of work in this area, I still am tempted to beat myself up and think other Jules wouldn't have dropped the ball when I know that's not true. I know other Jules have dropped the ball too. That's okay. We're all so incredibly human and normal. And I want you to look at me and know if Natalie can be a Jewel, then so can I. If Natalie can figure it out, then so can I. That is your takeaway. I promise you. I have ADD. I am still so disorganized. I haven't arrived. I don't think you ever arrive. The higher I go up, the more I know you never arrive. And so it's just, you keep on showing up and figuring it out, even when you don't want to, even when you feel bad for yourself. And then you be kind to yourself and compassionate and keep moving forward. So that's all I got for you guys. I hope that this empowered you, and go out there and you guys send some messages, risk the failure, risk the rejection. It is the end of the month. It is Magic Week, and you guys have people to help. You have people waiting on you to reach out. So you better go and you better reach out to them, because you are their blessing and they're going to look you in the eyes and they're going to thank you. So have a wonderful night. God bless you guys.